If you like hearing random or bizarre facts, you've come to the right channel. If your brain makes links and connections between things without you telling it to do so, you've come to the right channel. If you self-identify as a geek, nerd, unusual, or profoundly misunderstood, you get the idea. Here comes episode 1 of Bizarre Connections, a never-ending chain of random and little-known facts aimed at fundamentally changing the way you view the world. Not. Connection number 1, Steve Jobs. So we're going to start with the guru of gadgetry. And there's a very good reason not to start with him, and that's because in 2008 the man actually robbed me. I had a first generation iPhone, absolutely loved it, 700 quid, spent a fortune on it, and one mandatory iOS update later from Jobs, and my phone was a brick worth sweet FA, robbing. However, I'm starting with him because he did actually say in 1996, creativity is just connecting things, and that's what this channel is all about. So even though he is a thief, we're going to begin with him. Now, so many bizarre connections we can make from him. I mean, the man was a Zen Buddhist, fruitarian, he experimented with LSD, he didn't shower very often because he thought his meat-free diet would mean that he didn't emit body odour. I mean, how did that work out, Steve? There are so many potential connections, but the one I chose is connection number 2, buttons. You have to be a bit weird to be scared of something as innocuous as a button, but it is a thing, kumpunophobia to be precise, and many believe that Steve Jobs had it. Look at his clothing, t-shirts and 100 identical black turtlenecks by Japanese designer Issey Miyake, all chosen because they had no buttons. The first generation iPhone took us from these to this. One button, and he even hated the single button, the home button. It was disappeared soon after. So, potential kumpunophobiac, definite robbing who hated all things button. Ultimately, Jobs was a minimalist, and the sheer messy complexity of buttons offended his worldview. From buttons, our next connection takes us back in time. Connection number 3, suits of armour. Bear with me here. The connection here is that buttons and suits of armour have, in the past, both been criminalised. So, in England, we are divided by class more than any nation on earth. Looking down on those beneath you is practically a national obsession. Now, in 16th century England, buttons weren't just practical, they were symbols of wealth and status. Fancy buttons with elaborate designs were a way of denoting your place in the class hierarchy. Yeah, I am really not making this up. If you were a pleb and you had the temerity to wear a garment with anything other than purely functional buttons, you could get into real trouble. These were called the sumptuary laws, and violating them could lead to fines, confiscation of garments, or even arrest. It was all about keeping the classes visually distinct, so everyone knew their place just by looking at someone's clothing. Another bizarre English law passed in the 14th century under King Edward II made it illegal for anyone to enter the Houses of Parliament in a suit of armour, because that was a bit of an issue, obviously. The logic being that it would prevent armed disputes from breaking out amongst the posh boys of the nobility. So that links buttons and suits of armour. Where do we go to next? Connection number 4, Winston Churchill. Churchill never wore a suit of armour in Parliament, but when it came to bizarre parliamentary bans, he did find interesting ways of circumventing them. In Britain, it just isn't the done thing for an MP to call a fellow MP a liar in Parliament, even if he is a hard-faced, unremitting purveyor of factually undeniable and frequent falsehoods. Therefore, in a typically British moment of madness, an MP who is a barefaced liar faces no sanction. But another MP who calls him a liar gets thrown out of Parliament. And you really need to ask why we're in terminal decline. Anyway, during a debate in Parliament, Churchill, unable to call his nemesis a liar, actually accused his fellow MP of committing a terminological inexactitude. This typically Churchillian turn of phrase very clearly stated that the other guy was a liar, but the phrase had just about enough vagueness to get around the parliamentary ban. Churchill used the phrase throughout his career, and it is still used as a humorous or diplomatic way to accuse someone of lying in the House of Commons without actually facing a ban. And from Churchill, we cross the channel. Connection number 5, the French flag. This is Blenheim Palace, 187 rooms and the childhood home of one Winston Churchill. John Churchill, Winston's great whatever, was a military leader who won a series of victories, including the Battle of Blenheim in 1704. Queen Anne was so pleased she made Churchill the Duke of Marlborough, which is one level below the royal family in the utterly ludicrous aristocratic class system we have in Britain. She also gave Churchill and his descendants a tenancy in perpetuity of Blenheim Palace. Sounds like a great deal, but you do have to pay rent for this. The rent has not changed in over 300 years. It is the princely sum of one French flag per year, payable to the king on the anniversary of the Battle of Blenheim. I think it was supposed to be some sort of posh boys joke. Anyway, from the French flag we must cross the Atlantic. Connection number 6, the Liberty Bell. So, the French flag is a tricolour, like many other national flags. In the French case, the 3 vertical stripes represent the 3 pillars of French society. Blue represents arrogance, white represents rudeness, with red representing impenetrable bureaucracy. Actually, that's a joke. Red represents fraternity, white equality, and blue liberty, hence our connection to the Liberty Bell. The Liberty Bell is an iconic symbol of American independence, located in Philadelphia and originally placed on the steeple of the Pennsylvania State House. Commissioned in 1752, the bell was cast with lettering which was a biblical reference from the book of Leviticus: "Proclaim liberty throughout all the land unto all the inhabitants thereof." Well, as long as you weren't a slave, but let's not go there. So, the USA declared independence from the UK on the 4th of July 1776. Most historians believe that the Liberty Bell was among the bells that rang out a few days later on July the 8th, when the Declaration of Independence was first read to the American public. So, from the Liberty Bell, the next stop involves running up lots and lots of stairs. Connection number 7, the Rocky Steps. Adrian! Sorry, apologies, but it's the only line I know from the Rocky film, or any of its 26 sequels. Not actually a line either, more of a grunt. So, all of the Rocky films, the original 1976 film and all 68 sequels, were lauded for their hyper-realistic depiction of the fine art of pugilism. Either that or they were Hollywood nonsense. You make up your mind. Anyway, the Liberty Bell is an iconic symbol of America located in Philadelphia, and as a result of their use in the Rocky films, so are the Rocky Steps, the 72 stone steps leading up to the east entrance of the Philadelphia Museum of Art. They gained their iconic status from a scene in the 1976 film Rocky, where the main character Rocky Balboa runs up the steps as the triumphant finale of his training montage. This scene has become a powerful symbol of hard work and determination in pursuit of the American dream, and ultimately, like the Liberty Bell, of America itself. So that's episode 1 of Bizarre Connections. Please like and subscribe if you could, help spread the word. I really like doing this, but it takes a lot of effort for a bloke on his own, and it would really help the channel get seen by others. Join me in episode 2, where we will continue the never-ending chain of randomness by connecting the Rocky Steps from episode 1 to this unlikely grouping. Me again. One last thing. Why not view the entire playlist containing all the episodes? Go on, you know you want to. Also, if you could comment and subscribe, I would be eternally grateful.